Here's an interesting moment where Lori Chavez-DeRemer in the Trump administration making excuses for Donald Trump. Even those on Fox Business are talking about this horrible and disappointing and weakening job report that came out. Listen to the way these idiots in the Trump administration are spinning this.
You admit to being just a little disappointed by this weakening job market.
Well, 22,000 jobs underperformed just a bit, but it's still in the positive. Almost 500,000 jobs have been created since the president took office. It's going to take some time. But again, when everybody's working for the American people and the American worker and somebody chooses not to, and they're instrumental in those decisions that affect the market, that affect the wage growth, that affect all of those things, do your job. And I know that the president's not going to let up on this, and neither am I.
Yeah, really nice excuse there. Everything's going to be fine. Give it 2 weeks. Give it a year. It's funny, when Donald Trump took office, he said, I'm going to lower the price of inflation and the job numbers are going to be great as soon as I take office. Just like he said the war would be over in 24 hours. So DeRemer is a complete idiot, and she's making excuses. Somebody else is Kevin Hassett with that stupid smirk on his face. Well, he was on Fox earlier today, and he was asked about these horrible job numbers. Listen to him spin this.
Let's go ahead and get your hot take. It's not the number you wanted. It was not the number that was expected. How come?
Right. Well, one of the things we know is that they've been really at BLS struggling with bad response rates. And Goldman Sachs put out a study yesterday that said that they've been messing up the August seasonal so much that over the last 10 to 15 years, they've tended to have to revise up the number by around almost 70,000 jobs when they get the new final surveys.
So it's their fault?
And so, well, I'm saying that this number, we expect this number will be revised up. That's been the pattern over and over. And if that happens, then it'll be consistent with all the other indicators we're seeing. Industrial production is at an all-time high. Capital spending is up 8% over the first half of the year after it being mostly flat under Joe Biden. And also within the jobs report we got today, there are a lot of really interesting and positive patterns. Thing one is that all the job creation is private sector job creation. Government workers are actually, their employment declined by 100,000. All of the job creation is native-born workers, whereas about half of the job creation under Biden was foreign-born workers. And so there are a lot of real positive things to see. And the final thing is that the wage numbers are fantastic. The wage growth is almost at 4%, which means that the typical wage earner in America right now has gotten a $500 raise already because of Donald Trump's policies.
Okay, so the revisions for June and July collectively were lower.
We're lower,
and you're
right.
saying the revisions for next month will come back. We'll see whether or not that's the case.
Yeah, and there's another big revision next week. But the point is that these numbers, the reason why they're getting revised so much is that these numbers are based on surveys, and people are kind of not filling out the surveys until the last minute, and so that the share of surveys that have actually been filled out at the beginning of the month is way lower than it used to be.
Let me explain to you why he's lying, why Lori Chavez-DeRemer is lying, and we'll get to Lucknick in a moment. The new job numbers are weighed against population growth. Example, the population growth exceeded 22,000 during that period. So we added more people than jobs. These people in the Donald Trump administration are lying to you, including Mr. Lucknick, who says, don't worry, everything will be okay between 6 months to a year. That's what he says. Have a listen to what he has to say about these job numbers. Don't worry, it'll be fine a year from now.
This is of numbers, though, that come out of a group like BLS. What the American public, what the world public, the CEOs in America, the Fed, anybody who's making decisions on these numbers, actually, they don't want someone who's there to win. They just want somebody who's there going to give them the most accurate, timely numbers that possibly exist. Just accuracy is probably the only thing that they want. So what I'm asking is today, when we see those numbers, whether we should believe they're accurate.
I think they'll get better because she'll take out the people who are just trying to create noise against the president. Take out the people trying to create noise. Let's get the accurate numbers, because this is going to be the greatest growth economy, right? 6 months from now, a year from today, as these trillions of dollars of plants and factories, you've seen all these pictures. There are just so many factories going in. The employment situation in America is going to be so impressive. Look, we've got 3% GDP growth. Nothing wrong with the growth we're going to have the rest of this year. But the Donald Trump economy, the explosive power of his tariff policy, his plants being built in America, to come home and build advanced manufacturing in America, when that comes starting 6 months from today to a year from today, you're just going to be impressed. I'm going to come on your show, and I'm going to make you say, Donald Trump was right, and we are all impressed.
Yeah, there you go. Blame everybody else but yourself, you frickin' fool, you. Give it 6 months to a year, and then I guarantee you when the numbers don't get better, in fact, they'll probably get worse in 6 months to a year, they'll still blame somebody else. It's funny because we were just watching Justin Wolfers on MSNBC, who was just talking about this, and he's going to be joining us actually in a few minutes. This is nonsense. These are lies from the Donald Trump administration. No different than when Donald Trump said the war would end in 24 hours, and then he said, give me 2 weeks. How did that work out? It's the same thing with Lucknick when he says, give it 6 months to a year. They're lying. And I say maybe the problem wasn't with the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe that wasn't the problem. Maybe the problem is Donald Trump's policies. Maybe the problem is these tariffs. The fact that the American consumers are the ones that have to pay the brunt of this. But they'll blame everybody else. They'll blame Joe Biden. They'll blame Barack Obama. They'll blame Pete Buttigieg. They'll blame George Soros. When they have absolutely nothing to do with what is going on right now with the economy. Let me repeat once again. Donald Trump, Bessent, Kevin Hassett, and Howard Lucknick, they inherited a great economy. And they are literally running it into the ground because of Donald Trump's policies. These tariffs being a main reason for it. The problem isn't with the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Who are they going to fire now? And that guy Hassett, who is just such a smug puke. And Lucknick, who says, well, just give it 6 months to a year. Yeah, why don't you tell that to the people right now that lost their jobs, who are also going to lose their medical coverage, and they're going to lose their food stamps. Why don't you tell that to them? Don't worry about it. Just give it 6 months to a year. Trust me. When Donald Trump was the idiot who campaigned on the fact that everything's going to be cheaper the second I'm in office, the war is going to be over in 24 hours, everything's going to be just fine. That was a lie. Just like everything else that adjudicated rapist says. It's a lie. It was never about making America safe again. It was about owning libs and going after black mayors in certain districts, certain cities. It was never about making America great again. It was about making America white again. This wasn't about making America safe again. It was attacking minorities, going after the homeless, going after minorities, deporting people that have been in this country for decades that are mostly non-violent criminals. Their only crime that they committed was coming into this country illegally. They've made a life for themselves and their families. Could we have some compassion for people? Is that possible? Even Fox Business and even Fox News are reporting on the numbers. This is not good. What do these members of the Trump administration say? Give it 6 months to a year. Everything's going to be just fine.